A topic of discussion and at times a target. Just last week, this nonprofit had their rainbow flag ripped right off of their railing. And now tonight, City Council is going to vote to decide whether they should fly on city property at all.
We're the city that's shutting down the pride flag. I mean, it's a step backwards.
Karen Majewski says what City Council is set to vote on tonight is not representative of the diversity that makes Hamtramck the community that it is.
Last night, the Hamtramck City Council unanimously voted to ban the flying of LGBTQ+ flags on city properties. This was despite over 3 hours of public comment, overwhelmingly in opposition. I guess the council was more easily swayed by the vocal anti-LGBT minority. And boy, were they vocal.
Pride Month, don't put it down our throats. We are not going to sit here and tolerate you guys coming and say, oh, it's Pride Month.
Somehow that resonated more with the city council members than the dozens of LGBTQ members of their community who pleaded with them to vote against this resolution during Pride Month, no less. And it sure would be a shame if someone just got one of those projectors to just shine a pride flag right on City Hall, but we're definitely not suggesting anyone go do that.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, I gotta tell you guys, I am absolutely loving this saga in politics where it seems like Muslims are turning against the Democrat Party because, you know, Democrats tried to coddle and try to appeal to all minority groups, okay? They try to appeal to Muslims by saying that, well, the GOP and conservatives hate you because you're Muslim. And that's, in my opinion, I think is not the case. I think there's a lot more in common with Muslims and Christian conservatives in this country than people want to admit. I just think that it's unfortunate that it takes this for Christian conservatives and Muslims to figure out that, hey, we have a lot more in common than what actually makes us different. Maybe we can find some common ground on some issues and work together, right? And that issue, at least in 2023, has been the woke ideology that is actively being pushed in schools that Muslims disagree with. Again, I've done videos of Muslim parents protesting in opposition to explicit books being pushed in school in the name of, diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? Again, they've been very vocal. They've been very vocal about the things that are being pushed on their kids in school, and they don't play that game, right? They have zero tolerance for it, right? And you're seeing it show up here kind of once again here as a Muslim majority town, the only Muslim majority town in this country, right? Something that the left typically would praise, right? Hamtramck, Michigan, actually moved to ban the pride flag on public property. And predictably, the left had a meltdown over this, and I want to talk about it. But before I get into it, I just want to let you guys know, if you like my channel, you want to support my channel, you can check out my merch, including my signature racist mugs. This is the black edition, which is a reminder of the 2023 definition of racist according to the left, which is anybody who disagrees with the Democrat Party. And it also has my logo on the back here. You can check that out at my website, gforemanbcp.com. Get 20% off using discount code TEAMBCP. So without further ado, roll the clip.
Thank you for your time, and may I address the esteemed and distinguished council people here before me. I am here to support Resolution 82. Hamtramck may be one of the most diverse cities in the country, but we have to draw the line somewhere. Sure, many Hamtramck residents have fled countries where being gay is a death sentence, but nothing says we have to make it comforting and welcoming here. While we can't legally discriminate against LGBTQ people in the United States anymore, the City Council of Hamtramck can say, ew, now, be proud somewhere else, because that is the meaning of neutrality, my fellow citizens. Additionally, at a time when all of us feel the burn of inflation, we can't expect to throw costs towards rainbow flags. We have to spend $146,996 on tasers for the Hamtramck Police Department. And just in case any of these radical gays get out of line. During Pride Month, no less. Bravo. And so allow me to humbly present a redesign of the Hamtramck City placard to underscore this brave council's position on neutrality. This new sign will ensure that visitors and residents know that this is a city that stands for diversity so long as it doesn't offend the religious beliefs and backgrounds of others. The slogan shall now read, Hamtramck welcomes you if you're straight. And this is a historic moment, a moment where the basic rights of LGBTQ folks are under attack. And history will look back at these 7 brave members of City Council and remember they remained neutral. The headlines will read, Heroic Hamtramck City Council votes to stay neutral during Pride Month, bans pride flags on all city property, and instead invests in police tasers. Now, this might be a little on the nose for you, and if you don't like this poster, I do have another one. This is obviously we'll have to paint over the rainbow on the mural because that is a little too gay. But we will have the world in 2 straight miles, so it's a little bit it's covert, so it's not right on the nose. Anyway, thank you so much. I yield the rest of my time.
Story tonight at 5. Hamtramck City Council passed a controversial resolution banning all non-government flags on city property.
According to the resolution, it's all about achieving neutrality in city spaces. But some in the community believe the real target is LGBTQ pride. Our Gino Vici joins us from Hamtramck City Hall with the story.
Well, the city's mayor says this resolution isn't an attack on anyone or anything. He says it's simply to provide neutrality throughout the city in terms of government buildings. The resolution passed unanimously last night addresses flags flown at government buildings, like here at City Hall or at schools. However, some feel this is a direct attack on their community.
Absolutely nothing neutral about banning rainbow flags on city property.
Tempers flared at last night's city council meeting in Hamtramck.
But we only salute the American flag.
There was no shortage of opinion, and it's all because of this. Resolution 2023-82. It passed unanimously. It calls for the ban of all but 5 flags being flown on city property. Those flags include the American flag, the state of Michigan flag, the Hamtramck flag, and the prisoner of war flag. The 5th is called the nation's flag. One of those flags not included, the pride flag.
It claims to be about neutrality, but it is a direct response to this ongoing battle.
That is concerning to Darren Shelton, the director of Planet Ant Theater in Hamtramck.
And in my opinion, it is the City Council's nuclear option to make sure that this flag cannot be hung up on government property.
Shelton says he reached out to the mayor to ask if he will support the LGBTQ+ community. He did not hear back. CBS Detroit also reached out for comment. We did not hear back either. However, city leaders stated last night they are not anti-anything. They simply don't want to show preferential treatment to anyone, hence the goal to remain neutral. Meanwhile, Shelton says the Muslim community and the LGBTQ+ community must find common ground to live peacefully alongside each other.
They're not asking for preferential treatment. They are asking for acknowledgement for their contributions, and especially here in the month of June, Pride Month.
It's also important to point out that Hamtramck residents are still allowed to fly any flag they wish at their home. Again, this resolution is aimed at addressing flags flown at government buildings. Only government flags are allowed to be flown there, like here at City Hall or at schools. In Hamtramck, Gino Vici, CBS News, Detroit.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Okay, it is crazy that we live in a country where a town voting to be neutral on flying a overtly political flag, that is seen as an act of bigotry and hate, right? When that's not an act of bigotry and hate. We're talking about a town. Okay, they're saying, look, we don't want to put up any non-governmental flags on government public property, which again is something that everybody should agree with. It's not like they're out here saying that we want to fly the Islamic flag, right? They're not trying to implement Sharia law. Okay, that's not what they're doing. Okay, they're not going that far. They're just saying, look, we don't want any flags that are not official flags of the government flying on private property. We just don't want that. And these people are having a full-blown meltdown, right? They're claiming that, again, it's an act of bigotry. But see, here's the problem that a lot of these people don't realize. A lot of this stuff is happening because you have people in that community that refuse to push back against the extremism that we're seeing in this country, right? When you refuse to push back on some of the stuff that's being pushed on children in the name of pride and LGBTQ rights, this is what happens, right? People are going to react in a retaliatory way where they're going to say, you know what? We see the writing on the wall, right? We see what happens when you allow this stuff to go too far, right? When you got the government flying the pride flag, right? Like the White House putting the pride flag, again, on the property, right? In a way that is disrespectful to the American flag. People see that stuff along with what's going on, okay, in schools and a bunch of other stuff, and they say, you know what, we got to nip this in the bud, right? We have to move to do things like this because we have activists that are basically trying to push this agenda down our throats, and people don't want it, right? They just don't want it. It is what it is. And that's not anti-LGBTQ. That's not saying that LGBTQ people shouldn't have the same rights as everybody else. The issue is that you do have the same rights as everybody else. The fact is that you're not fighting for equal rights anymore. You want special rights and privileges, a la you want the special right and privilege to fly the pride flag. Because I'm pretty sure these people will be opposed to government buildings flying an Islamic flag. Okay? I'm pretty sure they'll be opposed to government buildings flying a Trump flag. Okay? Or any flag that represents a movement that is in opposition to them or that they get triggered by. They would say, nah, you can't do that. The fact is that a vast majority of people in this country don't give a damn about who you like to sleep with or whether or not you like your genitalia. What most people care about is when people try to tell children whether or not they like their genitalia and who they like to sleep with. That's what people have a problem with, okay? But outside of that, nobody cares. Okay, but they, at every chance we get, at every turn you get, they want to tell us, hey, this is who I like to sleep with, right? Hey, I do or do not like my genitalia. And it's like, we don't care, right? Nobody cares. Live your life, okay? Live your life with certain boundaries, obviously, okay? Boundaries that everybody has to adhere to, including straight people, because we're not trying to push straight pride in school, okay? So the government says, hey, we want to be neutral on this stuff, okay? We don't want to give preferential treatment to any religion, any ethnic group, any racial group, anybody, right, of any sexual orientation. Like, they don't want to give preferential treatment, right? They don't want to fly a straight pride flag. Now, we know, again, if they decided to put up a straight pride flag, these people will be losing their minds, right? They'll be talking about how that's an act of homophobia and bigotry, okay, to say straight pride. So I'm just saying, we all know that these people would not be okay if they flew other flags, okay, that, again, had, connotations that they disagree with. But again, they want to be recognized, okay? They want to say, hey, well, we contributed this and that and everything else to this community, therefore we should be able to fly a flag on public property. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. Because we know that same argument when applied to groups that you disagree with. But again, these people, they're showing you straight up, they don't want to be neutral. They don't want equality. They don't want any of that. They want special rights and privileges. And it's like, no, you can't have that. You have to share this country with everybody else. And everybody else, the majority, cannot capitulate to you just because you are a minority and you're claiming to be oppressed. It is just very interesting to see two groups that Democrats try to appeal to, Muslims and the LGBTQ community, basically go at it, okay, over what is happening in this country, right? It just goes to show you that, again, all minority groups are not the same in their pursuit against trying to take down the evil white man, right? That maybe, just maybe, core values that we have, especially when it comes to morality, religion, things like that, that is what actually bonds us more so than anything else in this country, race or political affiliation or anything like that. And I think that, again, conservatives are starting to see that from the Muslim community, how they are standing up and they have a zero tolerance for what's going on. They're not just bending over and taking it, right? They're saying, no, we refuse to have our kids be exposed to this crazy stuff in school. We refuse to have this stuff take over our towns, right? We want to have the freedom of religion to not have our children be exposed to this stuff. And again, I'm just saying, it's one of those things that is kind of, fascinating to behold what's going on in this country and what we're saying. So again, at the end of the day, I agree with this town. I think this town did the right thing. They're not showing preferential treatment towards anybody. They're not engaging in homophobia and bigotry and all this other stuff that these people claim. They're being neutral. They're saying, look, hey, we're neutral, okay? But apparently, again, That's hate and bigotry. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.